Hey, how's it going? Welcome to episode this one of the OB broadcast. How's it going? Walked in, got a new fresh haircut, feeling good. Was watching some Smash Bros commercials because the new game is coming out in like 2 weeks. It's weird because I picked up my first Smash game was Smash 4 on the Wii U and DS, and I picked that up, but I wasn't following it in the lead up. It sort of just came out, and my friend Miguel got me one of the because there were demo codes for the 3DS, and there were some demo codes that had, like, you could only play them for 30 days or something, but there was some unlimited demo codes for whatever reason to give special treatment to some people, I guess, and he managed to score me one of them. I just don't know how, but so I picked it up, and I played it on the 3DS, and it was heaps of fun, and then I bought the full game on release, and then I eventually got it on the Wii U, and I started following, like, heaps of Smash players, and, just practicing versing level 9 CPUs, and just enjoying it, trying to figure out, my guy, which ended up being Fox. But this is the first Smash game that I've gone from from a previous game to a new one, which means I've been following all the, the hype build up and what characters are being added and what are being removed. Spoilers, none are being removed, and everyone that's ever been cut is being added, which is kind of cool. Sorry, no, it's not kind of cool. It's very cool. I'm really looking forward to trying all the new characters that A, I've not played before, and B, are brand new. I'm looking forward to playing Wolf, because apparently, he's similar to Fox-ish, so it'll be good to see if he feels better than Fox. I doubt it, because I love the way Fox plays. I'm looking forward to playing the Belmonts, because I enjoyed the Castlevania TV series, and I played 1 or 2 Castlevania games. They're lots of fun, and the Belmonts with their whips are really cool. I'm surprisingly looking forward to playing as an Inkling from Splatoon. I don't know why, because I don't like the games particularly. I'm not that they're bad, I just don't like them. But I think they might, if it's done well, and I have reason to believe, because it's Nintendo that it is, that they'll be fun characters to play. I don't know, it's all purely speculation, but hey, it's coming out in 2 weeks-ish, and I'm keen. I haven't bought it yet. I need to buy that, and, I haven't pre-ordered it. Not that you should, but I haven't even got a LAN adapter, which Nintendo still is not providing LAN adapters. Providing LAN ports, Ethernet ports for their consoles. Don't know why. PlayStation has it. I assume Xbox has it. Just $50 Australian, which is like, I don't know, maybe 37 US, which is ridiculous for a peripheral that should just come by default. Anyway, I got a bunch of things to talk about. I got a really full notepad page because I'm doing 2 podcasts today. Today being a Monday, not Tuesday. I'm recording 2 of these, and I'm also recording a bunch of radio stuff because I'm getting my wisdom teeth out, and I'm under the impression that I'm not going to be able to talk properly for a little bit. So I'm not going to look fine or feel fine for a while, but apparently the talking is going to be impaired for some small period of time, like a week and a bit, maybe 2. So I'm trying to prepare a bunch of stuff. Podcasts, I'll record 2 and then schedule them to come out once a week. And then radio stuff, I'm going to have to research radio, like find talk breaks and then do them, because I don't like to miss shows, even though it's a perfectly valid reason to skip a show. I've done like close to 90 and I've not skipped a show yet, so I'd like to maintain that. What are we going to talk about? You know that the Spiderman DLC came out, so I'm going to cover that. Black Friday, Game of the Year Awards, Detective Pikachu. I got a whole bunch of stuff. We'll start with the Spider-Man DLC. Yeah, welcome back to the Spider-Man podcast. This podcast where we talk about Spider-Man every episode. So how are you guys enjoying Spider-Man? No, it's so the DLC came out. It was called Turf Wars. I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers or gameplay or played it yourself. I'm not gonna do anything too spoilery, but I am going to cover a couple of things. Oh, wow. Am I going to talk about anything from the previous? No, okay. So it's completely spoiler-free, even for the previous, like, core game and DLC. So it starts off really strong. There's this, the very first scene interaction it's really cute. It's touching in the first few seconds, and then it jumps into being really serious. I enjoyed the new DLC. Even though it was criminally short, it was just way too short. The thing is, they've got a lot of things they need to pay off in the final DLC, unless they're coming out with more, which I highly doubt. but they had a massive cliffhanger on this one, a massive cliffhanger on the previous one, and the silver lining is going to have to, which is the name of the third one, it has to be really, really big, or it's going to suck. Because they've got too much that they need to pay off without it, being a substantial size. Which, makes sense. It's the last DLC. It should be long. You should take notes, South Park, because Bring the Crunch was not great. But, so yeah, it starts off really cool. There's, Spider-Man's always been known for his quips, and I've said that before, and I will continue to say it until my dying breath. But yeah, they're really, really good in this game. There was one little, one little one-liner, and I don't know if this is like hinting at like a DLC or like a next game, but he says, at one point he says, "Oh, I know someone with a way cooler shield," and it's somewhat hinting at like Captain America, MCU, Avengers type stuff, which is fine. I don't really like Captain America or any of the other Avengers, as I'm sure I've stated. But yeah, it's just a nice little hint there. There's a few other hints throughout the game about, possible Avengers stuff. I don't know if I care. Apparently, I think it's Square Enix is in the process of making an Avengers game. I think it's Square Enix. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I'm probably not going to pick it up unless it has a sizable portion of Spider-Man stuff. Unless you just play through the game and you just have access to all of the Avengers and you just sort of pick who you want to play as. It's sort of like the X-Men... Oh, there was an X-Men 2 game on PS2 and GameCube. I forget the name of it, but you could sort of just like... You played as... Oh, this new girl. I don't know if she's canon, but she's sort of like a blonde girl that has like lava powers. And then you like pick up the rest of the X-Men as you play throughout. I think there's two in the same vein. It's like X-Men and then X-Men 2 Rise of Apocalypse, maybe. I really don't know. I was maybe 13 when I played them. But they were really fun at the time. You sort of just had access to a whole bunch of X-Men and you could, skill tree upgrade them the way you liked, and you could pick Wolverine and not Cyclops. It was good. So yeah, maybe if Square Enix did something like that and I could just spend the entire game playing as Spider-Man, I would. Even though, in fairness, I'd probably play a bit as Iron Man. I don't know. You're probably obliged just to not play as one character for such a game. But then again, it's Square Enix, so the game might not come out where you can play as different characters like that, or it might not come out at all, because I'm pretty sure Square Enix was behind A Quiet Man, and that game was garbage. So we'll get back into it. Spider-Bot is back, which is cool. He made a very small appearance in the main game, and then a slightly bigger appearance in the second, and he shows up for one of the main missions in the third installment, being the second DLC, and it's cool. I really like the Spider-Bot. Like I mentioned, I'm always a big fan of side and smaller missions that give you a different perspective, so on the ground in this case. Still can't go under things. There are some things like very tall tables that you can go underneath, but small benches and stuff, benches that sit very low to the ground that have ample room for a Spider-Bot, you just can't go underneath. Don't know why. It just feels like, it would probably be too good because it's sort of in a mission where you don't want your Spider-Bot to get detected. And that's fine. You don't want to make it too ridiculously hard. Too ridiculously easy to not get seen. But at the same time, it's a spider and it's a robot. And you just should be able to crawl under anything and just be out of harm's way. I think it's criminal, the fact that there isn't like a little web shooter and you can zip up to the roof. I don't know what purpose that would serve. I think in actuality, it would make it a lot more obvious and visible to the people that you don't want to be visible by. But it would be cool. Because the thing is, Spider-Man is so cool. And I remember playing a Spider-Man PC game when I was a child. And it wasn't great. You sort of, played as Spider-Man in the J. Jonah Jameson, Scorpion, I think Venom showed up, one of those games, and which is all the Spider-Man games. No, but you spent a lot of time inside buildings, crawling around on the roof and stuff in vents. And while you do a decent amount of that in the new Spider-Man game, it's mostly like swinging through the city, which I prefer, and I think is better, generally speaking. But there were a few cool moments where you're just like hanging from rooftops, which is just really synonymous with Spider-Man. And you don't get that too much in, Spider-Man PS4. What else is there? Well, there's, I feel like in the DLC, Spider-Man puts too much blame on himself. And I feel like that's an overarching thing throughout Spider-Man as a whole. I feel like he puts way too much blame on himself. And it's actually a bit of a deterrent, right? Because you pick up the game because you want to play as a hero. And I feel like, maybe it is synonymous with heroes to put blame on themselves and, carry the weight of the world on their shoulders and that sort of thing. But I don't know. Maybe it's because Spider-Man in this game is like sort of my age. Like I'm 22 and I think he's around that age in the game, which, by the way, is so confronting. Like, look at what he's doing with his life compared to me. I'm talking in a box of pillows and blankets into a microphone. That's fine. No, I feel like he carries too much blame, too much burden, too much of a burden, rather. And it's sort of a deterrent to me. I don't know. I think it's just a turn off. Spider-Man does the best he can, and even in the core game, there's like they tackle the issue a little bit of like you can't save everyone, and I don't know, man. Maybe I'm not in the position where I'm saving just heaps and heaps of people. Obviously, maybe this is just a thought that comes up. But when you start to save people, you start to think you can save everyone, and realistically, you just can't. I don't know. Maybe it just comes with the job. The DLC sort of felt like it had a low amount of content, which it did. It was short by time, but it also felt like the amount of content in it was broken up between really long fights. Like when I first started playing DLC, you open up with a fight because it's Spider-Man, of course you do. And I was like, oh, okay. These are the dudes I got to take out. You take them out and you think, oh, that was sort of shortish, but, there's a whole bunch of story stuff going on so I can understand it. And then another wave of dude comes out and you go, oh yeah, that sort of makes sense. It's a long-ish opening fight. And that was just like a sampler, and this is like the proper enemies you have to fight. And that's cool, and you do that. I was like, oh, that was a bit long and boring of a fight. And then there's like a third wave, and there's even more dudes. And it's like, okay, well now it just feels like you're padding out the game with really long fights. And that might not be your initial thought from the first fight, but as you play through the game, you just know that the entire DLC is just a slog. Even so in the core games, you have different areas that you have to take out, and there's sort of like 5 waves of enemies. And in the DLC, there's a similar thing, except it's 6 waves. That might not sound like much, but it's a whole other wave, and they've got a whole bunch more enemies in each wave. It's just a slog, man. That's the only word that I can describe it. It's just a pain. There's so many enemies, there's so many dudes shooting at you at once, which is fine, just Spider-Man, but like, you just want to get through it a little quicker. Because there's like a perfect window of a fight being not too short and not too long. And generally speaking, they really nail it, but there's a lot of points in the DLC, the second one, where it's just way too long. You're thinking, dude, why am I still here mashing square? And obviously, it's, the game isn't just mash square, but there's a certain point where I generally try and play my games on like a medium difficulty, somewhere in the middle. But I was just getting so bored with these fights, I turned it to the simplest difficulty and just spammed square because I just could not deal. I just couldn't deal with that many dudes at once. Ha! Don't take that out of context. But no. Well, I shouldn't have acknowledged that. No, but there's just so many enemies that you have to fight at once. It's just not engaging. And especially, it was good to see a different variety of enemies. But when you're trying to take out like a dude with a shield, and then a dude with a gun, and then a dude with a couple of whips, and you've got 13 rocket launchers 13 rockets via rocket launchers shot at you, it just gets on your nerves. And it gets on your nerves really quickly. There is some good verbal content. J. Jonah Jameson still does his podcast, which is great. They are enjoyable to listen to. Spider-Man has some real A+ quips. They just like sound really good. Really funny stuff. There's even a point where he's bantering with an enemy, like just not like a boss or anything, but just like there's a level where you have to fight a bunch of enemies. Who would have thought? And at one point, you just start bantering with one of the enemies. I'm not sure which one, because I don't think it's a set one. I think it's just dialogue prompts, but you start to have a bit of a back and forth, and it's really funny because I hadn't heard that before, and I can't think of many games where you have, in like sort of beat 'em up games where you have dialogue with just like your run of the mill enemy. I think they're called ads or serfs in MMOs. I don't know. I've never played WoW, so I wouldn't know. The story was enjoyable. It was focusing around Hammerhead, who is a villain from the comics. You would know this. It's not a spoiler because it's on the picture of the DLC. It's called Turf Wars, as the name might imply. And it's called Turf Wars, as the name might imply. What does that mean? I don't think that actually means anything. It's called Turf Wars, and as the name might imply, it's about turf wars between different factions of bad guys. There we go. That makes a little more sense. Enjoyable story. Did enjoy it. Some of the side characters were more well-rounded, just like you see in, Iron Fist and Daredevil and like all the Netflix Marvel shows. They're really good at having their secondary characters really well-rounded and not just leaving them to be like, fodder for story. Like they actually have their own lives. And yeah, it was good to see a secondary character in Spider-Man have that same treatment of, getting more attention. It was terribly, terribly short. Mentioned that. Just an awful cliffhanger. Not awful as in bad, but awful as in severe. Like it was just like a really intense cliffhanger. More so than the first DLC. But I think I was just apathetic towards the first DLC's main antagonist. I'm not struggling on the definition of antagonist. I'm just not sure where Black Cat falls in. Maybe she's an antagonist, maybe she's a protagonist. I don't know. It's always ambiguous. I think that's kind of the thing that she's got going on. But yeah, I didn't really care about the cliffhanger in the first DLC. The second one I did, and the third one better pay off both of them and more, because otherwise, man, you see, if you have a bunch of DLCs, that's fine. And if they're only okay, that's also fine. But if you have a bunch of DLCs that are great with massive cliffhangers and you don't pay them off properly, that sucks. If I went through all the Spider-Man DLCs and they all just had massive cliffhangers and none of them got addressed, even like up until the, next game, I would classify that as a real disappointment. And it might actually, make me think that the South Park DLCs were better. Anyway, like I said, the last DLC has to really pay off. We got more Screwball, and spoilers, this is a spoiler, whatever. You're getting more Screwball in the third DLC, because in the second DLC, it's like, hey, I'm going to do the Screwball challenges, and then we're going to find her and arrest her. And you don't, she's just going to be back in the third DLC. If you don't know, I hate Screwball. In the game, it is the worst part of the game. Not only are most of the challenges pretty boring, just for context, in case you haven't listened to the other podcast or played Spider-Man, Screwball is a character that you don't actually see. It's all done as a sort of nod to live streaming and Twitch and all that. And you play as Spider-Man in a series of challenges run by Screwball, where for some reason she's got dudes with guns that are brainwashed or something. And it's just doesn't make a lot of sense contextually, probably. And it's just not enjoyable. I think the biggest turnoff is the fact that she's such an over-the-top, exaggerated version of what old people think streamers are. And I know there's a lot to decode there, but I am so sick of this like high-pitched, annoying, bratty 20-something-year-old character saying OMG and Omega lol and all this, and it's painful to listen to, because as someone that is young enough to understand what the young people are saying, nobody says that. Nobody talks like that. There's like maybe a couple of Twitch streamers that are very shallow and rely on, I don't know, a combination. I can't think of any by name, but I'm sure there are some that rely on a combination of speaking in a very childish way and their looks to draw an audience, which feels like what they're going for here. And look, maybe it's just like a parody, a very extreme parody of Twitch streamers, but it's just annoying. And this isn't coming from a place of, oh, I love Twitch, you shouldn't. Don't be mean to Twitch streamers, because I live in Australia, it's very difficult to watch like the big streamers because time zones. But it's just annoying. Man, I can never take anyone seriously that verbally says OMG. Even oh my god is pretty bad, but saying OMG is so bad. And to put it in a game and be proud of it, I just have to assume that it's like intentionally bad and it's like a parody. But no, she's annoying and the challenges are annoying because A, they're not enjoyable, and B, because they've got all this like streaming paraphernalia about it. And there's going to be more in the third DLC. So I'm sick of Screwball. I hope she never returns to any Spider-Man game because I'm sure with the success of this one, they'll make a second Spider-Man game, which will be cool. Oh, it's just so painful. The last thing is the 3 suits. They added 3 suits as they did in the previous DLC. The first one is ugly as sin. It just looks bad. It's not good. It's really not. It reminds me of the suit in the core game. I think it's like the rubber electricity type suit, and it's like really big and bulky. You look like you're wearing like floaties on your arms, you know, the things that kids wear in the pool. So that one's not good. It's just hella bulky. And I know the first suit is a reference to something in the comic books, but it doesn't make it look good. It's just so gross and bulky. The second suit is pretty snazzy. It's modeled after another Marvel character, not going to say who, that I don't particularly like, which is it's still pretty ambiguous because I don't like a lot of the Marvel characters. Well, no, some. But the second suit is pretty snazzy. I rocked it a lot once I unlocked it. And the third one is an absolute abomination, freak of nature. What is it? Oh my god. I don't know what this third suit is. I do. It's a reference to, I don't know, a comic book or I think like a Japanese interpretation of Spider-Man. But it just looks horrendous. And it looks, you know, they've taken it from source material and they've replicated it perfectly. So no discredit there. It just looks bad. I don't know what, it's so overly cartoony and it doesn't fit with the rest of the world. You know what? I can only liken it to Mario walking around in New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey. Everyone else is normal, and then you just have this like short-ass plumber dude that is just disproportionately short and wide relative to the average person walking through the city. And it just looks so out of place, and so does this suit. It just looks terrible. I hate it so much. Mind you, there's only about 4 or 5 suits out of all of them that I actually wore and enjoyed. So maybe I'm just way too picky. But I would be surprised to see anyone actually using this suit unironically. But that's pretty much all I had to say about the DLC. I think it was a little bit repetitive at times. I don't know. This is like, I haven't even done 10 of these yet. So I'm still trying to work on, you know, different formats of writing down notes. Do I just write one word or do I write a script or dot points? I'm sticking towards dot points, but well, yeah, I don't know. We'll just see how we go. I've written down Spyro game-breaking bug. I no longer have a Spyro game-breaking bug, but I feel like I should update the whole Spyro thing. I finished it. I was just going through a rut last episode when I was talking about my disdain for the game. I still, like, I keep true to all the things that I said. I do think it was too close to the source material, and I do think it made for quite a, not boring, but just uninteresting game. And I think it's great for kids, and I think if, you know, you like collecting, it's good for you. But I did finish it. I enjoyed finishing it. I think once the story's done and you've unlocked... That's another thing. Having to backtrack was prevalent in the third game as well. Not through abilities, but unlocking other playable characters. And that was prevalent in the third game. And I think once I unlocked all the characters and I could just go through and complete stuff, I was enjoying it a lot more. But yeah, I got through and I've finished it. All the trophies, all the levels, 100% everything. There's nothing left to do in that game. It is El Completo. And I had a good time. You know, it wasn't the best experience, but like I was talking about in the last episode, I definitely got my money's worth. I probably clocked 7 to 8 hours in each of the different games to 100% them. So that's, you know, for the $50-$60 it cost, I think that was a good return on investment. I did encounter a game-breaking bug, though, for a little while. There is one level where, well, in the third game, you have to go through different worlds, and you got to help people in the different worlds, and one person from each of the worlds will come back to the hub, and will sort of, I don't really know how it works, because in the first area it was a whole bunch of people weighing down a balloon, like a hot air balloon, and that was your way of getting from one place to another. But by the end of the game, it was just people hanging onto the side of a rocket. And I don't get what it was other than just a way of symbolizing this is the worlds that you have and haven't done. But anyway, you need to save each, mini world, and then one person from there will come back and will act as a tick mark that you've beat this world. I couldn't do it for one of them. I forget which one it was. It was one where you had to go through and there was lots of fairies around and lots of wizards that were moving pillars and platforms in and out. If you've played the Spyro games heavily enough, you'll know which one I'm talking about in the third game. But basically, whenever I got to the final part where they give you the return home portal and the egg and it's like, tick, you're completed, every time I went there, it would just freeze. So Spyro would just be there in his idle animation, so would everyone else, but no one would say anything. And I left my PlayStation there for a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 times, and just nothing. It would just stay there, or soft locked. And I checked for an update, there was no updates, and I turned it off, went to bed, upset that I would have to, if I wanted to 100% it, I would have to start over. Not only that game, but all 3 games, because you can't delete a singular save file. But woke up the next day, and it was fine, I could get through it. I think there are some bugs and issues in the game, but none that I've encountered. I don't know, knock on wood, but I've been pretty lucky when it comes to game-breaking bugs. There was apparently a lot in South Park, and I didn't experience any, and I can't think of many times I've had to start over a game because of a game-breaking bug. Again, knock on wood. I know I'm very superstitious with knocking on wood. Not really anything else. I'm fine to walk under a ladder, although I won't if I can avoid it. And just, black cats, knocking over salt, whatever. But the knocking on wood thing is, don't know, it's been drilled into my head for far too long. Anyway, I've been doing some cooking recently. And in the past, I had to amend what I said, that you can't screw up something if you've got a video instructions. And you know what? I fancy myself as a bit of a cook, bit of a baker, a hobbyist, really. Not great, but I know just enough to get by. And I'm starting to learn to do different recipes, that sort of thing. I think I had beginner's luck because I've been screwing up a lot recently. More than I realistically should for someone that has access to a functioning brain, probably, allegedly, and the internet and also recipes. I just don't know how I'm doing it. So the first thing I did was I made brownies while everyone was out of the house. I thought it'd be a nice surprise for them to come home to banana and choc chip brownies. And when I spent a couple of hours between preparing, cooking, baking, that's the same thing, and washing up and putting away all the dishes. And, a couple hours later, it was done. I did not overcook them, but I took them out of the oven and I bit into one. It tasted like dirt. How do you put so much chocolate and sugar into something and banana and have it taste like dirt? I don't know what I did. I did something horrible to it. I can only apologize. And I just screwed it up. So that was one. And then the very next day, I made chocolate mousse, which did not turn out well at all. I mean, it was edible, but it was like way too sickly sweet, and it was like really low and flat. And I also made, it was a sponge with a coconut meringue on top. And the sponge was overdone and dry. And the meringue was, I think it's because I used a wide round dish instead of a small rectangular one. And I think because there was so much surface area and not enough, material in the meringue and the sponge, that it cooked through the sponge quicker. And so I was left with a very dry sponge. And the meringue, instead of rising up to the top and having like a lovely sort of crisp marshmallowy meringue slice on top of the sponge, it was just like a thin layer of crust on top. So the sponge had like a hard top. So I screwed that up royally. And then yesterday, I made a pavlova. And I've done that in the past successfully. But for whatever reason... Okay, and here's what you don't do. I've followed recipes from Jamie Oliver, Gordon Ramsay, Mary Berry. Just recognized names. And no problems. My dad, he's a pavlova guy, right? And he said, oh, you should do it this way. Because we were watching Nigella Lawson on TV. And I know you're hearing the name and you're going, oh, why? Yeah, so I made a recipe from a Nigella Lawson video, and it turned out terribly because she's like, okay, and firstly, man, she's uncharismatic. She's just not likable at all. I'm sure she's a nice person, but just as a celebrity chef, and I use that term loosely, just not likable, in my opinion. But I followed the recipe, and then she said, yeah, so make sure you leave the pavlova in the oven to get down to a room temperature, right? Don't take it out. If you leave it in the oven, it will slowly cool down and it'll stay nice and chewy. And I thought, oh yeah, she has been on TV cooking for like half as long as I've been alive. I'm sure she knows what she's talking about. I went out to buy Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS for my little sister, even though we went down to the shops because I thought she would like Animal Crossing New Leaf, and she decided against it. I went for Luigi's Mansion. Took me by surprise, but she's enjoying it. Anyway, we came back, and the whole thing had sunk. It was like a coliseum, really. It had the walls built up, but the center had just fallen in. Incredibly disappointed. So what I ended up doing was making another sponge, which was also still pretty dry. Getting a lot of fruit and cream, sort of making trifles. So you put the sponge at the bottom in like individual cups. So sponge at the bottom, then some fruit, then some cream, then the broken up pavlova, which still had like a nice marshmallowy bit to it. And then putting some mango on top, a bit of vodka. They were pretty nice. I don't know how that turned out. I've never really whispered into the microphone up close like that. Hopefully it gave the desired effect, but they were pretty nice. But overall, I have been screwing up a lot, and normally I have my professional baker friend Miguel like on phone call whenever I'm baking stuff until I can do it consistently. But I've been trying to be like, yeah, I can follow a recipe, just, go for it myself, just use a recipe I found online. And I've been screwing up a lot. So here's what you do. Play Pokemon, join a Facebook Pokemon group, talk to one of the admins who lives in America, who happens to be a baker, and then become friends with him, and then be friends for multiple years, and then have him teach you how to do baking, because teaching yourself, it doesn't work. I really, really thought I could do it. I really thought I could just pull the recipe from the internet and just make it and it would be fine, but turns out there is more to it than that. So I'm a little disappointed with myself, in all honesty. But yeah, I just thought I would update. It's always best to only do 4 or 5 podcasts and then continually use updates as interesting enough to bring it up on the podcast. Before I do that, I wanted to talk about the Video Game Awards for 2018. I've heard that they've come around again, just from listening to other podcasts, and I thought I would give my 2 cents. So we'll just go through the categories and the nominations, and I'll just give you my opinion on which I think should win and which ones I think will win. Granted, I have not played all of them, so I'll try to be impartial where I can. Also, I don't necessarily represent the values of everyone, so take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, we'll just get through them. Game of the Year overall. We got Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, God of War, Spiderman, Monster Hunter Worlds, and Red Dead Redemption. I thought that Fortnite was in this, but apparently not. Okay, it's interesting. I think it's probably going to come down to God of War, Spider-Man, or Red Dead Redemption. I've been meaning to play God of War and Red Dead Redemption, both. I think they are great games. I personally would like to see Spider-Man win. I also know Celeste is a brilliant game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey also sort of revived the Assassin's Creed franchise, which has been... They really tried to kill it off with some of the recent games, but apparently Odyssey is very good. So they're all great games. Again, I would like Spider-Man to win. I have a feeling it's probably going to be God of War. I think if Red Dead Redemption was slightly different, it would have won, but I've heard a lot of people complaining about it, thinking that it's boring because there's a lot of horse riding, but it's just sort of, it's a cowboy rockstar game, so like that's what it is. But I think God of War is going to win, even though I'd like to see Spider-Man win. I don't actually know how much money goes into like companies buying votes. I don't know if that happens. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not going to say that it does, because then it's just it's just whoever has the most money. Next is the best ongoing game. We've got Destiny 2 Forsaken, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, Overwatch, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. I have not played any of these. I am aware of Destiny. I know it's bad. I know it's just an expensive, bad version of Warframe. I hate I hate Fortnite with a fervent passion. No Man's Sky like everyone knows, it started off really, really bad, but is now, getting there to be like a solid game. Overwatch is Overwatch. I've actually played like 5 minutes of that, and then there's Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. I feel like Tom Clancy is sort of like I feel like a lot of streamers play it. I don't think it's like super well. Like I think it's sort of like Hitman, right? The people that really like it play it and love it, and it's a brilliant game. But I just don't think it sells as well as it should have relative to how good it is. Who would I like to see win? I want to say probably Rainbow Six Siege. I don't really like Overwatch. Like, I'm sort of over that genre. I'm sort of over shooters as a whole, but I think I would like to see Rainbow Six win. But who do I think will win? I don't know, man. As long as it's not Destiny. Probably Fortnite or Overwatch. One of the two. Best game direction. A Way Out, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. I could see any of these winning except for Detroit Become Human because that was really not good. A Way Out was really, really interesting. God of War is just well known for being a brilliant game. Spider-Man I love. Red Dead also very good. But this is Best Game Direction, awarded to a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovative in-game direction and design. Interestingly enough, I think A Way Out probably has a really good chance. I think it is both creative and innovative. I don't think Detroit Become Human was a good enough game. God of War was like a brilliant game with a touching story. I just don't think it's necessarily going to win this category. It'll probably win something, but I don't think it's this one. Marvel's Spider-Man, probably not. I don't think it was particularly innovative or creative in terms of like, game story. Design, it was phenomenal. And then Red Dead, yeah, I don't know. I'm actually leaning towards A Way Out, funnily enough. I'm not sure if they'll win it though. Best Narrative, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Life is Strange 2, Episode 1, Marvel's Spider-Man or Red Dead Redemption. Again, I would like to say Spider-Man. I have a feeling that Best Narrative is probably going to go to God of War. It feels like or maybe Life is Strange 2. I don't know. I know that 1 was brilliant. I don't know about 2. Yeah, my bet is God of War. Best Art Direction, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Octopath Traveler, Red Dead Redemption 2, or Return of the Obra Dinn. No idea what that was. Octopath, I know. Return of Obra Dinn is the only thing that means nothing to me. This is for Best Art Direction, so I want to say Red Dead or a toss-up between Octopath and God of War. Octopath is an interesting choice. I think it was very well received for its art style. But I think, yeah, I don't know. That's one of those two I feel like is going to win. Best Score / Music presented by Spotify. Oh, sorry, my bad. Best Score / Music - so it is presented by Spotify, this award. For outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed track. We've got Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Ni no Kuni 2, Octopath Traveler, Red Dead Redemption 2. I feel like Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption 2 don't have enough of a... I don't think their soundtrack is well-rounded enough for this award. I would probably say Celeste or God of War has this one. Maybe Ni no Kuni. Maybe. Best Audio Design, and that is presented by Dolby. Recognize the best in-game audio and sound design. Got Black Ops 4, Forza Horizon, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it's got to be one of the last two. Marvel Spider-Man, everything sounds brilliant. The in-game design, the swing, the shooting, everything sounds phenomenal. Red Dead Redemption 2 is, I think, just a fairly safe bet, as is God of War. I think you're starting to see the trend with those three. I would not like to see Call of Duty win, because I've played so much Call of Duty in my time. I'm just over it. I played a bit of Modern Warfare. I played a lot of Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1. And World of War. But I played so much of those that I can't stomach another Call of Duty game. It would be interesting to see Forza win something, but I don't think it'll be for Best Audio Design. Again, that's a guess. I haven't played it. Best performance, we've got Brian Deckard as Connor, Detroit Become Human. Christopher Judge as Kratos, God of War. Melissanthi Mahut as Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2. And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker in Spider-Man. So I want to say Spider-Man. Not because I'm biased. I think he did a phenomenal job in that game. I think it was a brilliant performance. He sounded for someone that I don't think has done Spider-Man before. He sounded so perfect as Spider-Man. So that would be my guess. Maybe Kratos. Don't know. As long as it's not Detroit Become Human. I don't understand why that game got such raving reviews or people like it so much. Games for Impact. For a thought-provoking game with a profound pro-social meaning or message, we got 1111, Memories Retold, Celeste, Florence, Life is Strange, or The Missing, J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories. I want to say Florence. Florence is brilliant. I think it's short and simple enough that people will overlook it, but it is brilliant enough that it is definitely deserving of the award. It'll probably go to, I don't know, maybe Life is Strange. I don't think it's going to go to Celeste. I would like to see it go to Florence because I think it is deserved. Best independent game, we got Celeste, Dead Cells, Into the Breach, Return of Obra and The Messenger. I think it should go to Celeste. I think Celeste will win it. So there we go. Nice and easy. I've been playing a lot of Dead Cells recently. I've been trying to. I really loved it at the start, but I don't know. It's got a little grating. It's not as good as I hoped it would be. I think everything I said about it when I spoke about it on the podcast is true, but I don't think it's gotten better with time. I think it's sort of stagnated and become more of a chore than anything else to get further. Best mobile game, Donut County, Florence, Fortnite, PUBG, or Reign's Game of Thrones. I would like to see it go to Florence. I think Donut County is a beautiful game. It's funny, it's cute, it's got a great soundtrack. I think it's very deserving of being nominated. I don't think it'll win because Fortnite and PUBG are there. Let's be honest, Fortnite's going to win this one. I hate the fact that it is, but it is. Best VR/AR game. For the best game experience, playable in virtual or augmented reality. Astrobot Rescue Mission, Beat Saber, Firewall, Zero Hour, Moss, or Tetris Effect. I don't know any of these games. I've never heard of any of them. I don't like or play VR or AR. I didn't think it was still a thing. I thought it was just a fad, like wearing 3D glasses in the movies. For the sake of saying something, I'm going to say Beat Saber because I like Star Wars, but man, honestly, whatever. Best action game, Call of Duty, Dead Cells, Destiny, Far Cry 5, or Mega Man 11. For the best game in the action genre focused on combat, I am aware that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is a lot better than some of the previous ones. I don't think it would be absurd to say that it wins. It would be cool to see Dead Cells win. I don't think it necessarily deserves it. I don't think Destiny deserves it. Far Cry 5, interesting. Mega Man 11, I've seen bits and pieces of, and it's apparently a very good rendition of the Mega Man franchise. Yeah, sure. Call of Duty, you can have this one. I mean, that's what I'm expecting it to be. I would like it to be. Action. I don't know. The action's really good in Dead Cells, but I just don't think it's winner-worthy. I don't know. I'm guessing Black Ops, but if Mega Man won it, I would be happy. The best action adventure, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead, or Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I don't know why this is the only one Shadow of the Tomb Raider has been nominated for. For the best action adventure game with combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, that just sounds like Marvel Spider-Man. I don't think there is enough combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. I don't think there's any puzzle solving in Red Dead. God of War, apparently the puzzle solving was just like, move this thing here and climb. And Assassin's Creed, I just don't think is good enough relative to Marvel Spider-Man. But yeah, I'm going to guess Spider-Man and also hope for it. The best role-playing game, for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massive multiplayer experiences, We've got Dragon Quest, XI, Monster Hunter World, Ni no Kuni, Octopath Traveler, and Pillars of Eternity. Again, I'm not really familiar with any of these. I am familiar with Monster Hunter. I think that's well respected, as is Ni no Kuni. Octopath Traveler, a great game, but I don't think it will win this one. Probably Monster Hunter? I don't know. We're starting to get out of my depth here, and we get further out of my depth when we go to fighting game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, we got Blaze Blue, Cross Tag Battle, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Soul Calibur 6, and Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition. It should, I want to say Soul Calibur 6 because it's got Geralt from The Witcher in it, and also apparently the customization is really good, character customization. But maybe Dragon Ball because it's got a big fan following. Or Dragon Ball Z, I don't know about the game in particular. Best Nintendo game, as it was so aptly put by Rogers Base, who is a YouTuber. I think it was him that said it. I was listening to I think it was not Japan Time. I'm going to pull it up because I've referenced something and I can't reference it and then not know where it's from specifically. It is, if you go to the channel on YouTube called Shofu, one of the most recent uploads was, yes, it was Japan Time. I'm pretty sure it was Rogers Base who described this category as the Nintendo category because I think they're all just Nintendo games. But for the best, it's the best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre and platform, I've got a phone call. I'm not picking that up. We got Mario Tennis Aces, Nintendo Labo, Overcooked 2, Starlink Battle for Atlas, or Super Mario Party. If it's not Super Mario Party or Overcooked 2, I'll be very surprised. I think Overcooked 2 is a great family game. So is Super Mario Party. And I guess we'll just see which wins. Next up is Best Strategy Game. I'm going to go through them. I don't know any of these. The Banner Saga 3, Battletech, Frostpunk, Into the Breach, Valkyria Chronicles 4. I don't know what any of these are. I haven't played any of them. I can't remember the last time I played a strategy game. It was probably... what's the one? It's made by the same people as Bastion. Oh, it was really good too. Let me look that up. Bastion game. It was made by the same people. Transistor, that's it. That was probably the last strategy game I played. I don't even know if that counts. That was irrelevant. The best sports/racing game. I don't know why sports and racing are in the same category, but whatever. FIFA 19, Forza 4, Horizon, Mario Tennis Aces, NBA 2K19, Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. I'm going to say NBA 2K19 is going to win because that's the one I feel like I hear about the most people playing. Best multiplayer game. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Destiny 2 Forsaken, Fortnite, Monster Hunter Worlds, Sea of Thieves. I would like it to not go to Fortnite, but it is going to. But if it was Monster Hunter or Call of Duty, I would be fine. But let's be honest, it's going to Fortnite because of course it is. Best shooting game awarded to the best student project created at the high school or college level. Combat 2018, Dash Quasar, Yera, Lif, and RE Charge. I have not heard of any of these. It would be rude of me to even interject. Best debut indie game. Recognizing a new independent studio that released its first game in 2018. Donut County, Florence, Moss, The Messenger, or Yoku's Island Express. Florence or Donut County. I would prefer it to be Florence. I would be happy with Donut County. Best esports game. CSGO, Dota 2, Fortnite, League of Legends, Overwatch. It's going to be Fortnite, but if it was CSGO, that'd be fine, I guess. I don't know. See, like this whole genre, like CSGO, is probably like the least terrible to me in terms of what I would personally enjoy playing. Dota, I could never play. Fortnite, you couldn't pay me to. League of Legends, same thing, and Overwatch is like second after CSGO. But I don't know, maybe it's because I have Australian bad internet, but I'm just so over multiplayer games that rely on internet. But this genre of shooter in particular, I'm so bent out from. Best esports player presented by Omen by HP. Okay. Dominique Sonic Fox McLean, Echo Fox, Hajime Tokido Taniguchi, Xian Uzi Jihao, Royal Never Give Up, Alexander Simple, Kostyliev, Natus Vincia, and then Sung Hyun, J. Jonak, Bang, New York, Excelsior. I don't know any of these people, so sure. Best person win. Best esports team: Astralis, CSGO, Cloud9, League of Legends, Fnatic, League of Legends, London Spitfire, OWL. What is OWL? OWL. OWL game. What is OWL? It's not an owl. Oh, the Overwatch League. Gotcha. Okay. So it's Overwatch. And then OG from Dota 2. Again, I don't really... Sure. I hope the best person that deserves it the most wins. Best esports coach. Cloud9, OG, Australis, Fnatic, Team, Vitality. Oh, these are the groups, not the people. Bok... okay. I'm just going to use their tag names. Reapid, P. Passarel, Zonic, Dylan Falco, Yamato Cannon, and YNK. Sure. How could I go through these categories and have no opinions on some of these? That's so bad. Best esports event: E-League Major Boston 2018, Evo 2018, League of Legends World Championships, Overwatch League Grand Finals, the International 2018. The only one I know anything about is Evo 2018 because I'm pretty sure that's a Smash one. So hey, there's my vote. Best esports host: Golden Boy, Machine, Anders Bloom, Sjox, SJOKZ, and Red Eye. Again, I hope the best person wins. Best esports moment: dude, how is this a genre? C9 comeback win in triple OT versus FaZe, G2 beating RNG, KT versus IG base race, OG's massive upset of LGD, Sonic Fox side switch against Geo1 and DBZ. What? What does any of that mean? Okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. Content creator of the year: Dr. Lupo. I don't know who that is. Myth, I think is Call of Duty, maybe. Ninja, I know who that is, and his picture's got some... yeah, so there's Ninja, and then Pokimane and Willy Rex. I don't know who any of those people are except Ninja, and who's content creator of the year? I don't know. Alpha Rat. No, content creator of the year is Bruce Willikers from the U-Realms channel, from the U-Realms Bruce Willikers channel. That's content creator of the year. Go subscribe to them. That makes brilliant content for their tabletop simulator gameplay. No, I mean that was serious. Go and check out Bruce Willikers. It's the best channel on the YouTubes. I truly believe makes some of the highest quality content. But yeah, so those are the game awards this year. I am not surprised I don't see any Pokemon Let's Go. Yeah, look, if Spiderman comes away with like one or two, I'll be happy. And the smaller amounts that Fortnite gets, the happier I'll be. Just because... no, I'm not going to do it. Not going to get to a Fortnite rant. Not going to do it. It is a game that a lot of people enjoy, and if you enjoy it, that's fine. I just don't for many reasons, which I'm not going to go over here. Just wanted to put a quick disclaimer at the end of this podcast. At the beginning, I said I was going to record 2 for the next 2 weeks, and I've only got 1. And the reason I've only got 1 is that I recorded 2, and the second half of the first was bad, and the first half of the second was also just bad. And I was talking about it in the podcast that I recorded that I've scrapped, that it was just, I'm still new to this. I haven't even got 10 podcasts under my belt. So it's just learning and growing pains. But it was so bad that I didn't want to listen back to it in the editing process. And normally I'm happy to listen back to the podcasts because I'm happy with it and I'm proud of them. But these ones were just not good enough. And if they're not good enough for me to listen back to in the editing process, and they're not good enough to put out. So, yeah, I've scrapped 2 halves of 2 podcasts. So I've put the two good halves together, and that's the one that you've just heard. At the beginning, I said I was going to cover a couple more things. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to them. If I do, I do. If I don't, they just weren't worth talking about. But yeah, I probably could have just omitted this, but I thought it's just important to say that I didn't want to put out garbage. So anything that does come out, as generally as a rule, is what I'm happy with, and I didn't want to put out something that I wasn't. So thanks for listening. The next time you hear a podcast, I will be in pain probably with stitches in my head. So that'll be fun. Hopefully I'll still sound the same. And if I don't, I probably won't record until I'm audibly coherent. Anyway, thank you for listening. Have a good one. And until next time, I'm out.